Good morning, everybody. How are you doing this morning? It's good to see all of you fine people there this morning. Oh my gosh, what a night. What a night last night was. We had so much fun. Welcome, Tease T. Good to see you. Thank you for becoming the newest member to this wild and wacky place. it's I've got so much today. JW, good to see you. Good to see you. Pam, nice. Nice. JD fan, what is up? Shadow Grey Wolf, man. Oh, good golly, Cynthia. You know what? I've got to get this one up that Cynthia sent me. It is hilarious. Hey, JD fan, Shadow Works, Roxanne. You don't have to turn on the red. JD, brother, Star Z. Morning, everyone. Yes. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, Amos girl. Good morning. How are you doing? Make it day. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, yeah. We have got some really, really cool stories for you guys this morning. Let me see. Let me see if I find Cynthia's here really quick because she showed this to me. Don't know. Where is it? In the browser. That's not a link. That's just an image. Let me see. I'll have to see if I can pull this one up. In a browser. I will have to see if I can find this particular one. Team Terry X. I'll have to look that one up. Give me a minute and I'll see if I could find that thing. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see if I can find that one because that looks hilarious. Damn it, still typed in the wrong words. See if I got it. And I think this is the correct one. I have to find this one. Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Okay, let's pull this thing up because this looked hilarious. Let me see. Mm, no, nope. I I don't know what that is. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I would pull it up. It would just get me in all kinds of trouble. Yeah, it might get me copywritten. It's awesome though. Ingrid, good to see you. Good morning all, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Yes, I am having a wonderful day. Um so we're gonna go through some of these stories. I have to I can only touch on because I've got a short amount of time. So we're gonna sort of fly through some of these. So bear with me. Appeals court halts Trump's Georgia case during appeal of order allowing Willis to stay on case. Ooh. So what is this? Atlanta, an appeals court has halted Georgia election in. Why do they keep saying that? An appeals court has halted this Georgia case against Donald Trump and about 8 other people. I think that's right. Something like 8 other people or 4 other defendants and others while it refused the lower court judge's ruling. Well, that's what they're supposed to do. And that's how an appeal works. Georgia Court of Appeals ordered on Wednesday it prevents Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee from moving forward with pretrial motions as he had planned while the appeal is pending. While it is already unlikely that the case could go to trial before November general election, when Trump is expected to be the Republican nominee for president, this makes that even more certain. The appeals court on Monday docketed the appeals filed by Trump and 8 others. I was right, 8 others said that if an oral argument is requested and granted, it is tentatively scheduled for October 4th. So there you go. The court will then have until mid March to rule, and the losing side will be able to appeal to the Georgia Supreme Court. There you go. Trump, yeah, we already know all these. Steve Sato, Trump's lead attorney in Georgia, said the Court of Appeals was right to halt proceedings while it hears the appeal, which argues the case should be dismissed and Fulton County DA Willis should be disqualified for her misconduct. Yeah. I mean, that all the other stuff is just fluff and pomp and stance. It's stupid. Yeah. So that's hilarious. Elec what is this? Election certification disputes in a handful of states spark concerns over presidential contest. It should. In Michigan, Upper Peninsula, two Republican members of a county canvassing board last month refused to sign off on the results of an election that led to the recall of three GOP members in the county commission. They did so only after state officials warned them that it was their legal duty to record the final vote tally. Hmm. And something about Fulton County, Arizona. Past 4 years have been filled with battles of all sorts of election arcana, including one that had long been regarded as administrative afterthought. Little known state and local boards certifying the results. Yeah, so you're going to see a lot more of this as this stuff goes a little bit crazier and crazier because we are ramping into the hot season, the doldrum days of summer, where it's going to be just campaign, 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 campaign everywhere. And of course, leading up to all of this, we have Trump's campaign steps up to vice presidential vetting efforts. I have a feeling he already knows who he wants. I'm pretty sure he already knows who he wants. But see, this gets all you fine folks worked up and excited. Don't worry about it. Just watch it for your personal enjoyment. Oh, okay. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate it. It looks hilarious. I think it would get me a copyright though. Yeah, good morning, Cap. How you doing? Good to see you, Captain Kern. Glad you can make it in here, man. Um, so we've got the New York former President Donald Trump's campaign has begun requesting information from its potential presidential candidates. Well, They do this for the news. That's it, because it gets more people talking about the election and leading up to it, sort of get a finger on the pulse of who they're going to select. Like I said, I think they already know who they're going to select. That I think Trump already knows who he's going to have for his VP. He's pretty positive of it. But this is one of those to get people excited about it because, say for example, and I'm just using this as an example. Say for example, he says, Bob the Builder. That's going to be my vice presidential candidate. That's going to be my running mate. Right now they're getting ready to print all of the flyers up and get those posters out so everybody going into the election can have their Trump Bob the Builder, bumper stickers. So they're already pretty sure they want to have Bob the Builder. But what they do is they throw a whole bunch of different names out there and they see how people react to them on the interwebs. And as people start talking, they'll say, well, we don't like John. We really prefer Bob the Builder, and we don't really like Susie. I mean, she's much better than John, but let's go with Bob the Builder. So it's all about getting the hype up around that VP. This is my opinion. Anyone claiming to know who or when President Trump will choose the VP is lying. See, there we go. Told you. Hey, they already know who it's going to be. The news comes a week after Trump was found guilty. Okay. But see, that's going to end up going into appeal, and it probably won't even be finished before the election. Trump has said he's in no hurry to announce his running mate, could wait until the national convention in July to unveil the person who will serve with him on the GOP ticket. Now, see, they keep throwing all of these people, Vance, Rubio, Scott Burgum. I don't think he's going to choose any of those. I think he's going to come right he's going to come kicking it right out of left field. Right out of the field, you like that? And he's gonna I really don't guarantee it, but I think he's going to choose Tulsi. I think that that's who he's going to just really, because that would do nothing but piss the left off so much, so much. It would just drive them nuts. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty positive because whenever he got up on he was up on stage talking about it, and he said, "You want to know who my VP is?" And he like caught himself and stopped like right then and there, and just never said it. And that's why I think that he's holding back, just getting people worked up in a frenzy. And if he gives it away too soon, then that it's gonna be who did you say? Who did I say? I'm thinking he's gonna. I want him to. I don't think he will, but I'd like to see him get Tulsi Gabbard. That's who I would like to see him have. But yeah, Captain Kern's right. 8 months ago, uh, it was because if you watch him up on stage, I can't remember what it was for. I think it was some sort of like town hall thing that he got up there with, and they were like, "Have you chosen a running mate?" And he was just like, "Yeah, I've sort of got one in mind." And then he sort of turned to the crowd, and he goes, "You want to know who it is?" The crowd just sort of lost it, like, "Yes, yes, yes." And he just sort of was like, and he just like ignored it. But I think he caught himself because he was about to give it away. But Tulsi, I don't think Marjorie it would make a good running mate. Well, because Marjorie will piss off the people on even on her side. That's the thing. 'Cause I think Marjorie is a little too bombastic because you have to look at somebody that would be also if if you needed if you needed to if something happened to you as a president, you would want to have somebody there that could run the show. And I don't think Marjorie could run the show because she would be too busy fighting with people. I think that Tulsi could step up and do something really good. Oh yeah, that would yeah, I know because Tulsi's like 100 times better looking than Nikki Haley any day. Hey humans, what is up, my Farrell? Good to see you. Holy cow! Ah, the news that vetting materials has been set up by contenders was first reported by NBC and the list by ABC. So that's sort of where they're at with this. And and the reason it becomes so important who he chooses. It's things like this right here. Trump's conviction prompts election year debate among Democrats. How much to focus on the verdict? Oh, see, they're starting to get it. They're starting to get it. Trump's conviction prompts election year debate among Democrats. How much to focus on the verdict? Well, inside Delaware headquarters, Joe Biden's campaign is signaling it will incorporate DT's, we just call him DT, recent felony conviction as core element of the Democrat incumbent's reelection message. But the more they promote it, the more popular it gets. But the nearby battleground Pennsylvania state that could decide the control of Congress and the presidency this fall, Democrats are far from certain that his criminal record matters to voters at all. Now you're starting to get it. It's not that his criminal record matters. All that matters is, although you convicted him of it, if it gets overturned on appeal, so does that opinion. So if he wins on appeal, that conviction goes away. Ah, F. Joe Biden, yeah. Focus hard, libs. Focus hard. Hey, Kevin. Ah, they will focus 100% on it. Why? Because Biden has no real accomplishments for Americans. Very true. Uh, yeah, and that's the thing. Trump will never set foot in jail. Federal law prevents it. And SS told this to New Yorkers yesterday. The only thing they can do is house arrest him to the White House. Okay, back to pretend to work for a few minutes. You have a good day at work, Farrell. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. We'll see you soon. But nearby battleground Pennsylvania, state that could decide control of Congress, it'll have an effect, a very small effect. Pennsylvania, yeah, no, no. Talking about it will have a major effect. Not talking about it will have a major effect because they've backed themselves into a corner. Now, be careful because whenever you back something into a corner, what happens? It lashes out. It lashes out hard. There, there are key voices within Biden's campaigns who believe that Democrats should lean into Trump's conviction. Yeah, that's because most of these people are idiots. And without evidence it was rigged against him, what? Show me it wasn't rigged against him. Prove to me that you did not rig this against him. I mean, it's very obvious that you guys did this crap on purpose because you've had almost 4 years to make a move on this, and you didn't. You didn't make a move on it until he came out and formally declared that he was going to be running, and then you went after him. Tell me, tell me that it wasn't on purpose. Every single bit of it was on purpose. And nobody really, if you think that it's a rematch, it's not. It's just a man walking in, taking back what he deserves. And on the bottom line, on Wednesday, Biden campaign senior advisor granted anonymity. Oh, yeah, they always have to be anonymous to discuss internal strategy. Said Trump's felony conviction could come as a regular part of campaign message with plans to incorporate the term convicted felon freely in statements and in press releases, and potentially it's paid advertising, but it will be part of a broader context in which the campaign will argue Trump doesn't respect the U.S. in the U.S. election process or the judicial system. Hmm. On Tuesday, VP Camel Toe Harris appeared on ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live and deflected a lighthearted question about whether people she watched the verdict were with her were pretending to not be happy when the conviction was announced. She kept a straight face, like, yeah. Instead, Harris discussed the case and the jury's deliberation after adding, I think the reality is cheaters don't like getting caught and being held accountable. Oh, really? She should know. Wasn't she like someone's little play toy? Montel Williams's little play toy? Just saying. Democrat pollster John Anzalone, who advises Biden campaign push back against those warning of political risks should the president and down ballot. This guy is convicted. The guy was convicted of 34 counts. How do you overplay that? Well, kangaroo courts. There you go. There's your answer. You overplay it whenever you keep repeating the same narrative over and over again. It's what is that they say the sign of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, hoping for a different result. You guys screamed Russia, 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 Russia for 4 freaking years. And then whenever it comes out that was all BS, you guys are, oh, well, yeah, well, let's not talk about that. Uh-uh. You should be gone at really hard and just constantly just drummed upon. There's no sense Biden will abandon other campaign priorities. What, like the priorities of saying, "Oh, we're going to crack down on the border." After the past 4 years, you had wanted to do nothing but open up the border even further. You wanted to add more people to process people coming into the United States seeking asylum. Jeez, come on, get off of it. Crooked Joe Biden will do anything to distract from Hunter's trial. And the fact is, family has raked in, no, no, not tens of millions. Well, tens of millions. I guess 20 million would be tens of millions of dollars from China, Russia, Ukraine. And I wouldn't even go so far as calling them the Biden criminal empire. It's just they they were doing everything that they could to get money. because they know that after this election, there ain't gonna be a single one of them that anybody's gonna vote for. Do you think people are gonna vote for Hunter? Do you think people would actually vote for Hunter? Do you think that people would go maybe vote for Jill Biden, Ashley, maybe one of their children way down the road, but that's about it. Like their reign is over. The chances of any one of them even getting into a place of power is so low. It is so low. They've done screwed most of this crap up as much as possible. His priority is keeping his pants out of his bike chain. Yeah, pretty much. We are going to hold Republicans accountable for this. They don't respect the rule of law. See, every time they say that the Republicans don't respect the rule of law, all you have to do is just point at Bill Clinton, point at Obama, point at any single one of these and I'm not talking just left or right. You can look at Bill Clinton, you can look at George Bush, you can look at Ronald Reagan. Every single one of these people did something that was not maybe quite right, but that's part of the job. If there's a danger, it's taking your eye off the ball, right? I mean, the conviction is a big shiny thing that the media paid a lot of attention to. That's all that it was. It was a big shiny thing that the media paid a lot of attention to. And as soon as that little portion was over, then they turn around and they focus elsewhere. They're not reading the room. That's the problem. Democrats always have a problem of not being able to read the room. They're like the petulant little children that come in and start tugging at mom's dress, and it's like, mom, 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 mom. They don't even have enough awareness to understand that they're being annoying little brats. They do not even have that understanding. That's not what the voters care about. That's just kind of indirectly tells you that you may not share their priorities. A lot of trust in the judgment of the president and his team. Oh, good job, Lamb. Yeah, you have a lot of trust in the president and his team. How much trust do you have in them? You have so much trust that you would walk blindly right over the cliff with the rest of the lemmings. What is this? This is why they've got such a slow day today. Today's going to be one of those interesting days. Today's going to be one of those interesting days. In your opinion, you think Biden administration will have us in war and will cancel the election? Ooh, we're going to get into this one. See, they can't even see the room because they invented the room in their minds. Yeah. Yeah, that is so correct, Mickey D. That is so correct. So here's an interesting thing. Now, this is a really interesting one because as much as we talk about, oh well, they may come up with a war, they come up with a war, they're going to come up with something. It could be any one of things. What do you think? A man in Mexico died of a bird flu strain that hadn't been confirmed before in a human, WHO says. Man in Mexico. What have we been having come across our border? Hmm. A man's death in Mexico was caused by the strain of bird flu called H5N2 that's never been before found in a human, the WHO said Wednesday. The WHO said it wasn't clear how the man became infected, although H5N2 has been reported in poultry in Mexico. There are numerous types of bird flu. H5N2 is not the same strain that has infected multiple dairy cow herds in the U.S. The strain called H5N1 and 3 farm workers have gotten mild infections. Other bird flu varieties have killed people across the United States in previous world years. Oh, in the world, including 18 people in China during the outbreak in 2021. Oh, really? There was an outbreak in 2021? I'd be surprised. Never heard anything about it. according to the timeline of bird flu outbreaks in the U.S., the CDC, and prevention. Mexico health officials alerted the WHO that the 59-year-old man who died in Mexico City Hospital had a virus despite no known exposure to poultry or other animals. Oh, amazing. According to family members, the WHO release said the patient has been bedridden for unrelated reasons before developing a fever, shortness of breath, and diarrhea on April 17th. Mexico's public health department said the statement that he'd been underlying ailments and well, he had underlying ailments including chronic kidney failure, diabetes, and high blood pressure. But of course, he died of this bird flu. The hospital care was sought on April 24th, and the man, he died the same day. Initial tests show an undefined type of flu that subsequent weeks of lab testing, the WHO said, who said the risk of people in Mexico is low, and no further human cases have been discovered so far despite testing people who came in contact with the deceased at home and in the hospital. There's been 3 poultry outbreaks of H5N2 in nearby parts of Mexico in March. But authorities have been unable to find a connection. Mexican officials are also monitoring birds near a shallow lake in the outskirts of Mexico City. I'm an official bird watcher. What is that bird doing? Bird is pooping. What is the other bird doing? Bird is eating. Oh my gosh, they might have H5N2. They're watching for any viruses that are evolving easily from person to person, and experts are concerned as more mammal species contact bird flu viruses. See, they're working their way into something new, and it ends up being a nothing burger if they win. A squid pro quo. Oh my gosh, you guys see squid pro quo hit over 200 last night? Over 200. It's amazing. Way to go, Squid. We're gonna keep that going. Keep growing, girl. Keep growing. You know what to do. You know what to do. Just get it, get it, get it, get it. And it's this one. Okay. Let's see that one. I don't care about that one. And of course, there will be one other thing. There'll be another. We've got a really important story that's going to be coming up. Ah, there we go. Speaker Johnson appoints 2 Trump allies to a committee that handles classified intelligence. What do you think that means? What do you think that means whenever they start talking about this one here? Speaker Johnson appoints 2 Trump allies to a committee. Oh my gosh. Speaker House Johnson on Wednesday appointed 2 far right now. Oh, so they're far right. I would say about 90% of the Republicans that you see out there are going to be not far right. They're going to be more of your see, there you go. Make sure you guys hit Squid Pro Quo. Go check it out. Go hit the like. Go subscribe. Give her a big thumbs up. You know, all the YouTubey stuff. And this is absolutely true. Current, y'all are putting out content to get your subscribers. I haven't even put out content yet. I get 5. I don't understand. I can't be that lucky. It's placating Mega that wants him gone. He is an invincible. Yeah. Positioning too close of allies of Donald Trump who work to overturn. See, you gotta stop saying these kind of things. Because first of all, he didn't overturn the 2020 presidential election. It didn't get overturned. So it's irrelevant. It's a moot point. It makes no sense to carry on and say, well, they worked to overturn it, but they didn't. So if they didn't, the action never really happened. It's just like, oh, they worked to overthrow the government. That's what they want to say. But nobody did. And nobody overthrew the government. There wasn't a coup. But this is they're working their way into it. See, they do a nice little play with word. Whenever I say they, I'm talking about them. You know who I'm talking about. They, them, those crazy thems, theys. They're always working against you. They're trying to bring you down, man. Watch out for the man, man. The appointments of Scott Perry and Ronnie Jackson, don't even know who these people are. Committee spots have typically been given to lawmakers with backgrounds in national security who have gained respect across the aisle. No, no, no. You don't have to have respect across the aisle. The Democrats and Republicans both have made this very clear that if you give respect across the aisle, you're a fence sitter. And what happens whenever you're a fence sitter? Well, you just get something shoved up your booty hole. And that's not where you want to be. You don't want to be a fence sitter. Being a fence sitter is not good because it hurts. It's going to be painful. That's the biggest problem with fence sitters is they are just doing nothing but hurting themselves. So take a stand, have a backbone, and if you are going to reach across the aisle, just know that you're reaching across the aisle to a rabid dog. One way or the other. Just realize that's what you're reaching your hand across, and that is going to be dangerous. It's going to be really dangerous for you. Be careful, be careful, be careful. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab myself another cup of coffee. So that means I am going to give you guys a short coffee break. You're going to get to see Rambo coming up. See, I still need to update this thing. There's a few things I've got to do to it to make it happen. So give me just a little bit. We're going to give you a little bit of this. And I'll be right back. Oh yeah, got a little Rambo happening. Oh yeah. Get it, Rambo. Get it, brother. Yeah. You know what to do. Yeah, there we go. You guys got a little taste of the Rambo. Hmm. So here we go. Committee spots. They had typically been given to lawmakers with backgrounds in national security. Bull. It also hands the hard right fraction of the White House two coveted spots on a committee. Don't care. Don't care. See, the problem is every time you idiots in the government say far right or far left, all you're doing is dividing people. All you do is saying, "Oh, they must be the racist. Oh, they must be the communists." Yeah, nobody cares. Why don't you just say on the right or on the left? Because anything left of center or right of center is far whatever. Just how far does it go? Oh, the hard far right. How about the hard far right? Or the hard far left? I don't know. It all is stupid. Trump has long displayed adversarial and flippant views of the U.S. intelligence community. Yeah, because they've been doing fighter. Because they've been doing stupid things. And of course, he has indirectly berated law enforcement agencies like the FBI, as he should. As he, well, if they come in and they storm your house, don't you think you might have a little bit of an attitude? Hey, they went through Melania's panty drawer. How does that make you feel? Don't you think you might have a little bit of animosity towards them? Come in and completely disrespect your residency? Just remember, cops and dogs are like a box of chocolates. Cops and chocolate. Cops are like a box of chocolates. They'll both kill your dog. Thank you. That's right. Former president faces 37 felony counts for improperly storing in his Florida estate sensitive documents on nuclear capabilities. Oh, really? Oh, so now they're saying he had nuclear codes or nuclear capabilities stored in his boxes. Now, how would they know this? Have they seen all of these documents? I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know how would AP know what was actually in there? Oh, that's right. There was a bunch of other stuff. Hold on just a second and give you a little bit of Rambo just for a second. I'll be right back. Oh yeah. Sorry about that. I had my wonderful wife came down and was like, I was like, oh yeah, we'll take care of that later. It's good. It's good though. Everything's fine. Yeah, Rambo. Okay. Where was I? Okay. Florida estate sensitive documents on nuclear capabilities. Oh, that's what I was talking about. So if he has these documents that are showing nuclear capabilities, then how would they be able to get their hands on it to know that's what it actually said? Unless somebody from the FBI is mentioning that this is what was happening and that's what the documents were. And in which case that means that what they were doing is illegal because they don't have the ability to do that unless those documents were already declassified by the president. So they've been reading classified documents and they've also been spreading the information about classified documents, which makes them very culpable, which could land them in prison. So you can't have it both ways. If what he had was illegal, then you were reading classified documents, which would put you in prison. You don't have the right to read those. So if you think that he's going to go to prison for it, well, you first. You first, FBI. You hand your ass over immediately for reading classified documents or putting your hands on classified documents. Or how about changing part of those classified documents and adding documents to those supposed classified documents? Or it's all bullshit squeeze. So these were demanded by investigators and cavalierly showing off Pentagon plan of attack and a classified map. Oh, really? But if he declassified them, if they were classified, that means that you guys showed these to somebody else. Perry, who formerly chaired the ultra conservative House Freedom Caucus, was ordered by a federal judge last year to turn over more than 1,600 texts and emails to FBI agents investigating efforts to keep Trump in office after his 2020 election loss and illegally blocked the transfer of power to Joe Biden. Huh. Perry's personal cell phone was also seized by federal authorities who have explored his role in helping install an acting attorney general who could be receptive to Trump's false claims of election fraud. Perry and other conservatives also pushed Congress to curtail a key U.S. government surveillance tool. They want to restrict the FBI's ability to use the program to search for Americans' data. Jesus, man. You think going after Americans is a good idea to go through their data? Well, let's just sniff out who disagrees. That's all that is. Yeah. Thank you, Perry. I appreciate it to curtail a U.S. government surveillance tool. Holy crap. So here's what they overturned. They passed a reauthorization of key U.S. surveillance program after days of upheaval over changes. The House voted Friday to reauthorize and reform a key U.S. government surveillance tool following a dramatic showdown on the floor over whether FBI should be restricted from using the program to search for Americans' data. The bill was approved. Passage of the bill represented a much needed victory for Mike Johnson, who has been wrangling with conservative critics over of the legislation for months. Legislation approved Friday would extend the surveillance program for 2 years. They got your number, Americans. They got your number. Do you think they're going to stop there? Oh, hell no. Still, the legend teetered Friday morning. One of his top critics, Major Tyler Green, said that Johnson voted against the warrant requirement was another strike against. So basically, that's the difference in Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Speaker Johnson, and there's not one. The amendment ultimately failed by the narrowest of margins. Supporters breathed a sigh of relief as the vote was gavelled to a close. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Kill FISA. It was used illegally against me and many others. They spied on my campaign. Absolutely. You didn't go to sleep, man. You did not go to sleep. I wish I had some white bread toast. Man, you don't have any of your little uncrustables? Come on, man. Get with it. Get with it. Yeah. How many do you have now, Squid? We've been throwing links up there. Jesus. These violations have led to demand for the FBI to have a warrant before conducting database inquiries on Americans. Yeah. What happened to our first, second, third, fourth? What about any of our rights as citizens of the United States? Well, we've taken those away. Why not take those away? Just make them go. You don't really need these rights. Ah, sorry. Just amazes me. In this news, Israeli strike deletes at least 33 people at a Gaza school the military claims was being used by Hamas. Yeah. Now you're starting to get it. And Israeli strike early Thursday at a school sheltering displaced Palestinians in a central Gaza killed more than 30 people, including 23 women and children. The Israeli military said Hamas militants were operating from within the school. We've been saying this for, I don't know, years, that this is how Hamas operates. They will operate from within schools and hospitals, places that whenever the casualties come out, they say, "Look, they're attacking our women's and our children's. Support us. Look at how bad and evil and horrible that the Israeli army is, that they're attacking men and women. Woe is me." As they're firing rockets out of the place. It was the latest instances of mass casualties. Well, mass would be more than 3, wouldn't it? A day earlier, the military announced new ground and air assault in central Gaza, pursuing Hamas militants and says have regrouped there. Troops repeatedly have swept back into sections of the Gaza Strip they had previously invaded, underscoring the resilience of the militant group despite the Israelis' nearly 8 month. No, it's been longer than 8 months that they've been going back and forth. Witnesses and hospital officials said the pre-dawn strike hit the Al-Harshadi school run by the UN Agency for Palestine Refugees known as UNRWA. The school was filled with Palestinians who had fled Israeli offenses and bombardment in northern Gaza. Uh-huh. It was dark, no electricity, and we were struggled to get out the victims. But they make it sound like they don't get a warning ahead of time. Hmm. Both strikes concurrent nursery at one of the several built-up refugee camps in Gaza dating back to, what, 1948? The same war that's been going on and raging for thousands of years? Yeah, this is what happens in war. This is why I hate war so much, because this kind of crap is what happens. Oh, yeah, most definitely. Great stream last night. Enjoy the crew, including the squid. Whoa, whoa. I know you meant to say whoa. You can always have the white rabbit hit you on the head with a bottle. Yeah, that's always good. That's always a good way to go. Oh my. Oh my. So crazy. And of course, then we have this one right here. We have Israeli settlers on the West Bank were hit with international sanctions. It only emboldened them. Of course. Occupied the West Bank. Israeli finance minister. And it's a horse on a hill. That could be anywhere. That could be somewhere in New Mexico, but it's not. This apparently is on the West Bank outpost of Meridium, Sunday, May 12th. Run free, little horse. Run free. Be a happy horse. But we also have this. Oh, the pro-Palestinian demonstrators arrested at Stanford University after occupying the president's office. Police arrested 13 people at Stanford University after pro-Palestinian demonstrators occupied the school president's and provost offices early Wednesday, causing what officials described as extensive vandalism inside and outside the building. The takeover began around dawn, the last day of the spring classes at the university in California, Silicon Valley, and it ended 3 hours later. Some protesters barricaded themselves inside the building, while others linked arms outside. The group chanted, "Palestine will be free. We will free Palestine." Demonstrators cheered in support of those being arrested as the detainees were escorted out of the building and loaded into law enforcement vehicles. The student newspaper said one of the reporters was among those detained, as they should have been. "Are you detaining me?" "No, I'm arresting your sorry ass." "Hey, King Paco, good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you could make it." Protest camps have sprung up on university campuses across the U.S. and in Europe as students demanded their universities stop doing business with Israel or companies that support war efforts. They've been doing this for oh geez, so many years. It's that divest group or whatever. This is the same group that is part of the squad. These are the outcomes of people like AOC. These are the outcomes of Ilan Omar. These are the people that were screaming this kind of stuff in the first place. These are people that do not like the United States. They want the total elimination and destruction of Israel as a country. Holy smokes, my phone actually finally allowed you to download Discord. Well, congratulations. Stanford students who are participating in the Wednesday's protest would be immediately suspended, and any seniors would not be allowed to graduate, said University President Richard Seller and Provost Jenny Martinez in a joint statement. They said the university also removed a student encampment of Palestinian supporters on Wednesday, which had been set up on campus on April 25th, citing public safety concerns of violations of school policies. The situation on campus has now crossed the line from peaceful protests to actions that threaten the safety of our community. They said, adding the demonstrators had recently tried to occupy a different building. Our law enforcement officers were lightly injured as when he was shoved by protesters interfering with a transport vehicle. University spokesman Dee Monstorf wrote in an email to the Associated Press. Other campus activities were not affected, she said. So here's where you've had all of your arrests. 132, 13, 70, 54, 132, 90. Then just keeps going on. Virginia Tech 82, oh, 1 in University of North Carolina at Charlotte. You notice there's a growing trend here. You don't see any in these areas right here. How come you don't see any in Oklahoma? Hmm. Why are all the little hot spots here? Why are all the little hot spots over here and over here? I mean, and then you see a big bunch come through here, and in this area, and you don't know what to do with them because they just come out in force. I mean, you have a few over here in this little area, but I mean, what else can they do? They're just a bunch of fools that like to get in there and cause problems. You don't see a whole lot in this area over here. Hardly any at all. But you got them like right here around Illinois. You got a whole bunch of them in this little area here, and you got a whole bunch of them over here in this area. I mean, it makes you wonder why they, just don't wear like one of those little bike helmets. Makes you wonder why don't they do things that are worthwhile instead of protesting? Like maybe graduate, become worthwhile. In addition to the damage indoors, the president provost said there was extensive graffiti on the sandstone buildings and columns of the main quad. Video posted on social media. Oh, because AP does not want to show that here. Social media, police busting in a door. Other photos showed an office desk splattered with a red liquid. An AP journalist on campus saw walls spray painted with political slogans calling for the destruction of the U.S. and Israel, as well as the deleting of police. The AP journalist on the campus saw walls spray painted political slogans calling for the destruction of the U.S. and of Israel, and spray painted. Just these are assholes. Mm. They're 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 causing problem in the worst possible way. Columbia University was rocked by campus protests. We will rock you. Earlier this spring, agreed to take additional steps to make students feel secure on campus after a settlement reached with a Jewish student Tuesday. Oh, there was a settlement that was reached. Columbia University and a Jewish student agree on a settlement that imposes more safety issues. Under the agreement, Columbia must create a new point of contact, a safe passage liaison for students worried for their safety. The liaison will handle student safety concerns and coordinate any student request for escorts. Hey, student escorts. Will handle for existing escort program must remain available 24/7 through at least December 31st, according to the agreement. Why December 31st? I'm curious. Why December 31st? I don't know. But we do know this. Republicans block a bill to what? Protect contraceptive access? Huh. So wait a second. I mean, if I read this headline right, and I could be wrong here, I'm just reading this. If I read this headline right, Republicans block bill to protect access to condoms and the pill, the birth control pill, access as Democrats make election year push. I mean, that's how it reads to me. Like they've blocked access to condoms. Like you can't get any condoms now because the Republicans blocked it. Is that true? It says Senate Republicans have blocked legislation designed to protect women's access to women's access to contraception. Okay, so if it's women's access, so they blocked access to diaphragms, abstinence, and birth control pills. Am I getting this right? I mean, because that's what it sounds like to me. Oh, no, no, no. Arguing that bill was just a political stunt as Democrats mount an election year effort to put GOP senators on the record on, wait, reproductive right? So this is something different. So we went from just contraceptive to women's contraceptive to reproductive rights. Well, these are different things. These are all three different things. I mean, women, you have the right to reproduce. It's beautiful how that works. Back to the chainsaw and the yard. Have fun, brother. Have fun. We want to see video. You know, we have to have it recorded whenever you remove a thumb. Happy D-Day, everybody. Oh, we'll get to that. The test vote on a 51-31 majority. What is it? As Senates have abandoned hopes of doing serious bipartisan legislation before the election, Chuck Schumer and his Democrats are trying to instead spotlight issues they believe that can help them win the presidency and keep Senate in November. A similar vote ensuring nationwide access to in vitro fertilization. That bill is expected to blah, blah, blah. The effort came as Democrat worry about reproductive. This is completely different things. Oh, here's the thing. Democrats believe that deleting children is contraception. See, I thought contraception happened before that, like to prevent it from getting to the point of pregnancy, you know, like abstinence, condoms, and all these other wonderful tools that were made as, what do they call those? Contraceptives. Damn. I mean, this is like 7th grade, health class. Contraception was supposed to be to keep from what? Conceiving. Oh my gosh. That's what contraception was supposed to be. Not deleting children. 2 years ago, and they continue to see that access as one of their most potent election year issues. President Joe Biden campaigning as he has embraced, deleting children as a key to winning undecided voters, especially women. Well, whenever the women wake up one day and they go, wow, here I am. I'm wasted away. Can't have any children because of they've already deleted all my children. What? How do you think that turns out? Yeah. Contraceptives are protected by the Supreme Court. This is Democrats showboating. Absolutely. No. Contraception is healthcare. No. Essential care. No. That millions of people rely on. No. If you can't afford a condom, guess what? You can go down to any health department, Planned Parenthood health department, and ask them for some. They will hand them out to you by the bucket load. They will gladly give those to you. You know why? Because they don't want to have to go to the next part of that. Well, except for Planned Parenthood, because they do not want to go to the next part of that, which is where you say, "Oh, now I got an unwanted pregnancy." Well, if you stick the ding dong in the woohoo, what do you think's gonna happen? That's sort of the outcome. Ah, well, the alarm just went off playing the ballad of Curtis Lowe. That's a good way to start the morning. Yeah. We will continue to urge Congress to restore the Roe v. Wade did not provide any protection. Tell me how that provided protection for those unborn children. Tell me how that was protection. Maybe whenever you see the effects that has on someone's life or lack of. So remember all of these people as you're going through your voting, in this year's election cycle. Just remember these people in your hometowns, in your cities, in your places of worship. Just remember them. Whenever you look down at your lovely niece and nephew or children, and just remember them whenever you're placing your vote. That had they had their way, as they're going, "Oh, what a cute child." Yeah, but you would have had that cute child deleted. You would have just you would have done that as heartless and as soulless as me removing a squirrel. That's how horrible these people are. They have no soul. And just remember, these people that are supporting this, I have no respect for you whatsoever. You have no heart, you have no soul, and nothing you say outside of, yeah, it's not right, gives me greatest pause to even deal with you. Because on the same part, they're talking about same-sex marriage. Well, you can call it same-sex marriage all you want to, but it's still just screwing. It's still two people of the same sex banging. Because in my opinion, no matter which way you cut it, marriage is always going to be between a man and a woman. Just because you want to co-opt the word doesn't make it right. I have no problem with civil unions. I have no problems with whenever the gays want to be married. Don't care. Do your thing. I want to make sure that a couple in a loving relationship is protected from financial ruin because, well, you can't, because this person that you spent and dedicated your life to, give them civil unions. Want to call it marriage? Great. Don't care. It'll never be considered a marriage in my book. Like I said, I got my neighbors next door. They're the same way. They're just like, yeah, we're a couple. We call it a marriage, but that's not what it is. Why? Because they're religious. They believe marriage is between a man and a woman. Ah. Instead, Schumer is focused on Senate judicial nominations, political messaging bills. Repeat vote last month in border security bill. Yeah, this right here, this whole story is a jumbled mess and confusion. So, Mary Claire, just let me give you a little information. Mary Claire, whenever you're writing a story like this, why don't you focus on the story? Because all the extraneous bullshit that you've thrown in there means nothing. All you have to say is that Republicans are beating your ass, ever living ass. They're beating it 9 ways to Sunday. And you guys are scrambling to find any reason to make sure that Trump doesn't get back in office. Every single bit of these stories that you're writing for the AP, Mary, shows that you're scrambling because there is no cohesive thing about any of this. You go from reproductive rights to talking about same-sex marriage to border security bills to entangled abortion debate to Young can veto bills, protective rights, and blah blah. You just you've like bounced all over the place from IVF to everything else because you can't make a cohesive argument. You can't make a good argument why these bills should not be passed. It's horrible. Oh, and Steve, next time you want to contribute to this report, get her focused because she's bouncing all over the place. These people do not deserve one more second of my time. Colorado woman who was handcuffed in a police car hit by a train receives an $8.5 million settlement. Oh my. Oh my. Yeah, they're throwing darts, hoping to hit the board with one. That's the problem. They keep hitting the board. They're just not hitting on target because they don't know what the target is. So they're focusing on everything. They'll narrow it down eventually. So a Colorado woman who was seriously injured when a freight train hit the parked police vehicle, which she sat handcuffed, has reached an $8.5 million. So, ooh. The lawyer representing two of the involved police officers said Wednesday the city of Fort Lupton, nearby town of Platteville in Denver, I'm believing, which together employed the three officers sued in the 2022 crash, will each pay half of the settlement to Yarani Rios. Zaporian represents the two officers who worked at Fort Lupton at the time, Jordan and Ryan. Steinke. His name is Steinke. Jeez, man. He declared to comment further on the agreement. Fort Lupton Police Chief William Carnes said in a statement Tuesday that the settlement was reached to the mutual satisfaction of the parties, recognize the gravity of the matter, and allows all parties to move forward. The AP sent his attorneys an email seeking further comment. Steinke and Vasquez were both sentenced to probation connection with the crash. Tom's Chink was not charged. Rios, then 20, was pulled over by Vasquez on September 16th, 2022, after a road rage incident that police said at the time involved menacing with a handgun. Shortly afterwards, Steinke and Tomix, we're just going to say Tom, arrived to help, and Steinke put Rios in the back of Vasquez's car. Vasquez had parked on railroad tracks, according to the lawsuit and testimony in Steinke's trial last year. Well, just saying. Well, you parking your car on a railroad tracks is not a good idea. I'm just saying that is probably a bad idea. Steinke testified that she did not realize where the car was parked. Oh, Steinke must have been a woman. Steinke didn't realize she parked on railroad tracks. Though the tracks and railroad crossing sign can be seen on her body camera footage, she was found guilty of reckless endangerment and assault, fired from her job, and sentenced to serve 2.5 years of supervised probation. Probation. Oh my God. In comments regarding the body camera footage, Vasquez told other officers that he thought he had cleared the tracks when he parked behind Rios. He said he was focused on her because he was concerned that she possibly had a weapon. Vasquez pleaded guilty on one count of reckless endangerment and was sentenced to a year of unsupervised probation. Rios screamed for help after seeing the train approaching. Although the door in the police car had been left open, she was not able to get out of the caged in back seat, according to the lawsuit, which stated she had suffered serious injuries, including severe head trauma. The suit accused police of being reckless and failing to protect Rios while she was in their custody. Rios pleaded no contents to a charge of misdemeanor menacing. Oof. But we have more. Firefighter dies. Long haul distance train derails amid heavy rains and flooding in Germany. Flooding, high river levels, and heavy rain led to the death of a firefighter and disrupted train travel in Germany on Sunday. Sunday. You know, here's an idea. Don't live in a valley. You don't have to worry about heavy rains or flooding. They were not really smart police officers, were they? No, no, they were not very smart. They were not very smart at all. But this should go down in history right here. A hailstone the size of a pineapple was found in Texas. It likely sets a state record. Look, the size of a pineapple. Storm trackers in the I thought that said the great state of Texas Panhandle recovered a massive hailstone that researchers say is likely to be a new state record. Val and Amy Castor, veteran storm chasers with the Oklahoma City television station KWTV, discovered a piece of hail more than 7 inches or 17.78 centimeters long Sunday along the side of a road near Vigo Park where they were chasing a major thunderstorm system. Val Castor said the stone was about the size of a pineapple. That's the biggest hail I've ever seen. I've been chasing storms for more than 30 years, Castor said. Castor has said several baseball-sized hailstones fell while he was driving, including one that cracked his windshield before he spotted the big piece in a ditch on the side of the road. I could see it from probably about 100 yards away, he said. The massive hailstone was believed to be a new state record, topping 6.4 inches or 16.25 centimeter hailstone found in Hondo in 2021. Still must be confirmed by a group of researchers that include the Texas state climatologist, said Jordan Salem, a meteorologist at the National Weather Service Outlook in Lubbock. The heaviest hailstone on record in the United States, it had a reported diameter of 11 inches or 27.94 centimeters for you that don't know how to do great American mathage, and weighed nearly 2 pounds. Wow. Or 907 grams. It was discovered near Vivian, South Dakota in July of 2010, according to the National Centers for Environmental Information. Damn, wow, not a monster. Oh, thank you for covering this story. I wondered what the hell happened in the aftermath. Yeah. Yeah, they got arrested. They got arrested. But we do have this, and this I just want to bring out. You know, it's very important, and it will always remain important, not impotent, but important, because of the great efforts of our military, those that came before us, those that we will hope to leave a legacy behind of being freeing Europe from the throes of being completely overtaken by the Yahtzees. This is the 80th anniversary of D-Day Live. Well, of the D-Day. These are commemorative events underway across Europe. And we'll just give it a little play here for you guys. So I can't play the music because I don't want to get in trouble for it. So I will give you some of my music because, well, that's all I've got. That's all I've got. Oh, I hit the wrong music. Damn it. I am so sorry. I couldn't even hear the music. I just realized. And once I turned it up in my headphones, I could hear it. I'm so sorry about that, guys. And just remember, good morning, Iron Rabbit. Just remember these men right here, they fought 80 years ago today. They fought to free Europe from the throes of one of the most brutal wars. They watched as their friends, relatives, if you want something that really touches you in a humbling way, just go to Washington. Go over to the wall that shows all the names and it will humble you. Yeah, sending hugs from Norway. Welcome, Torah. Best generation. Yes. This is this right here. They didn't they did so much. And I don't care what Biden or all those assholes have. At that point, the politics of these guys doesn't matter, because they did something that shouldn't have had to do. And this generation is going to be short-lived. We won't see them in for the 90th anniversary. If they do, they're going to be really old by that time. Like they'll be setting world records for age. So in 10 years, all of what you know about this will be gone. These men. I don't know if there's any of these soldiers here would be women, but these were men that gave everything just so they could watch some petulant child. No, there's one for the Vietnam veterans, and it's there, talking about the center of all of it shows the World War II monument. Just go. If you haven't been, that there was somebody that asked me if there was one place that you would recommend to anybody to go to. It would be just one place. Like if I had to tell someone, that I would say go to the World War II monument. I mean, you still have the Vietnam War monument. You still have the Korean War monument. But the World War II monument, it will humble you. If it doesn't humble you, you have no soul. And that right there is what we are really lacking, is people being humbled to realize the amount of death and devastation that happened just on D-Day. It's if that doesn't give you pause of going into another full scale war, I don't know what else would. That's all. And that's why I saved that to last, because that's a difficult thing for anybody to as everybody's going off about oh well we need to defund this, or we need to do that, or we need to worship what's his name, the King Floyd. As everyone's going off about that, just why don't you take your ass to the World War II monument and count the names, read through each one of those, spend the day there. Yeah, while you're concerned about, oh well, women's reproductive rights. These guys fought just so you could have that. Hmm. It's amazing to me that people get all worked up over this other bull garbage. They're more concerned with this crap right here. Tax on profits of fossil fuel companies. They're more concerned with this. They're more concerned with, oh, climate change. Then they're concerned with what these soldiers did, what they had to go through. Hmm. French President Emmanuel Macron is awarding 11 U.S. World War II veterans with the Legion of Honor, France's highest distinction during the D-Day 80th anniversary. The men, now 98 to 104 years old. Macron kissed each of the veterans on both cheeks and warmly greeted them as he pinned medals on their lapels. You came here to make France a free nation. You're back here today at home, if I may say. And the reason this right here should not even be recognized is Zelensky would would have been fighting on against these people. All that he's doing here, and this is an insult. The only reason that he's here is to beg money so he can continue. Zelensky said he's going to attend important meetings aiding and aimed at strengthening his nation at war, a war that he created. Hmm. This event and day serve as a reminder for the courage and determination demonstrated in the pursuit of freedom and democracy. Hmm. I love hearing this right here. A 103-year-old female British veteran is given the Legion of Honor award in France. Macron bestowed a Legion of Honor award on a 103-year-old female British veteran officer who created a detailed maps that guided the crews of landing craft on D-Day. Danish Prime Minister references Ukraine. Yeah, great job. Prime Minister of Denmark has referenced Russian bombing of Ukraine as he unveiled a monument. You have to remember that Ukraine was fighting against the European forces. Do you think that these people that are running the Ukrainian government have any respect for the EU unless they they kowtow to their wants and desires. I don't think they care. I honestly don't think they care. I don't think they give two shits. Ukraine can go suck a peanut for all I care. They put themselves in this position and they have not helped out whatsoever. Prince William raises bravery of Canadian troops. Yes, the Canadians were there also. Some 14,000 Canadians were part of the 150,000 Allied troops who had landed or parachuted into Normandy in 1944. Biden meets with veterans in wheelchairs, leads birthday song for one. Yeah. Veterans who could stand were helped out of wheelchairs to pose for photos with the President and First Lady Jill Biden. One hugged Biden and another saluted. When Biden learned it was one of the veterans' birthdays, he led the audience in singing Happy Birthday. First Lady clutched the arm of another veteran, helped him stand next to Biden as they shook hands. Don't get old, the 100-year-old man joked with the 81-year-old president, who was a toddler. Well, he would have been a year old when the D-Day took place. Oh, so Spielberg and Tom Hanks were behind movies and television shows about World War II, and they were nearby there also. UK Prime Minister Sunak takes a break from campaigning to attend the British ceremony. King Charles III pays tribute to veterans at British Normandy Memorial. King Charles III and Queen Camilla have led commemoratives as at the new British Normandy Memorial at Versailles. I cannot Versailles. Amelia wiped away a tear as actor Martin Freeman read words by 99-year-old D-Day veteran Joe Miles, recalling, I was 19 when I landed, but I was still a boy. I don't care what people say. I wasn't a man. I was a boy, and I didn't have any idea of war and killing. Welsh singer Tom Jones, 83, sang his song, I Won't Crumble with You If I Fall, before the king addressed the audience in French and English. Charles said that while the number of living veterans was dwindling, our obligation to remember what they stood for and what they achieved for us all can never diminish. Speaking in French, Charles paid tribute to the unimaginable number of French civilians killed in the battle for Normandy and the bravery and the sacrifice of the French resistance. Did a marble it or did he actually sing it? And because of freedom is worth celebrating and passing on to children, Alexandra Hammond, 35, drank champagne and shared the sunrise with her boys, Carl and Niels, both 13, as the day dawned Thursday over the beaches where Allied soldiers landed on D-Day. The family was among the crowd, several thousand strong, that searched for kilometers along Utah Beach, one of the 5 beaches along the coast of Normandy where Allied troops landed. Utah and Omaha were taken at the cost of hundreds of lives by American forces, with the others stormed by troops from Britain and Canada, also killing many hundreds, plus others from France. The other code-named beaches are Juno, Sword, and Gold. Carl sat perched on the hood of their 1943 Dodge truck, lovingly restored by her husband. I'm not even going to try to say that name. As the family from Saint Malo, a French coastal city that was badly damaged in major fighting about 2 months after D-Day, stared out across the English Channel. The waters Thursday were still. and peaceful, unlike that fateful day that helped change the course of the world. Give me just a second. It's indescribable just imagining the chaos. And now it's peaceful, almost festive. We try to imagine, but think it's unimaginable. You think of all those guys, everything they went through. They say they aren't heroes, but they are. Those guys really never should die. I imagine the boats, the guys arriving, the sounds. It must have been horrible. As the rising sun took the night's chill off Utah Beach, Christopher Ricoeur from 57 from Tineville in eastern France unfurled a stars and stripes he bought from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania 6 months ago, specifically to honor the Americans who fell on D-Day, to keep alive the memory of the soldiers who died for our freedom. To forget them is to let them die all over again. Coeur and his daughter, Julie, 28, carefully folded the flag into a tight triangle after the quiet, reflective homage on an empty stretch of the beach, busy with hundreds of people strung out along the sands. Ricoeur said the Ukraine war was on his mind too as he honored the fallen of World War II. I don't believe that for a second. His great grandfather, World War I. His grandfather was a prisoner of war in World War II, and his father was a veteran of France's war in the former North African colony Algeria. I don't want our freedom for our kids, our grandkids to be hit by, I don't want to say a madman. Well, he's been lied to because it's disrespectful to think that Russia didn't have a lot to do to help free Europe from the throes of Hitler. Russia had a lot to do with. You may not agree with the communists at the time, but Russia had a lot to do with fighting against that and pushing back. Russia had a lot to do with breaking the back of the same people that the U.S. wants to send money to. I don't want our freedom for our kids or grandkids to be hit by that. I don't know why they would even bring this guy in there. We just have to remember the sacrifices, but they tend to forget those sacrifices. Because if I have to read another one of the APs that talks about or even tries to compare any of this bullshit that's going on in Ukraine with and disrespect our American soldiers, our European allies by promoting Ukraine, I'll I'll just stop reading AP on this, because to me it's nothing but just disrespectful to even come close to comparing the BS that's happening in Ukraine with Russia as anything close to what happened during World War II. It's completely disrespectful to all those soldiers to even come close to comparing it to that. Utah Beach, France. As the golden sun pierced low clouds over the seas that were thick with landing craft from Port Normandy on D-Day, Becky peered across the English Channel towards her native Britain, her eyes filled with tears as she thought about the scene 80 years ago. It's so historic that we just have to remember the sacrifices of everybody who gave us our freedom, whose grandfather served as the British Army during World War II and was captured in Malta. It gives you goosebumps. Everything that happened here. Imagine just jumping into the water, freezing cold, said the 54-year-old who now lives in Florida, as the rays of the morning sun start to warm the hundred of people who waited through the night's chill for dawn's break. The bravery, the courage for people to face that is just unbelievable. Very, very humbled to be here. Centurion veterans share their memories of D-Day 80 years later. World War II veterans from the United States, Britain, and Canada are in Normandy this week to mark the 80 years since the D-Day landings that helped defeat Hitler. Few witnesses remain who remember the Allied assault. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Sit in a wheelchair in front of the graves of the fallen comrades. The Normandy American Cemetery D-Day veteran Jake Larson wanted to let them know out loud that they are the real heroes for giving their lives for the liberation of France and Europe from Germany, not him. 101-year-old, best known on social media under the name Papa Jake, with more than 800,000. Who cares how many followers he has? And I can't read any more of AP stuff. It's horrible. It's horrible that they're comparing this. They're comparing this scum of the earth to anything to do with World War II. I'm disappointed in you, AP. How disgraceful. How disgraceful AP can be. It's horrible. Completely horrible and disgraceful that they would disgrace these soldiers in such a way. Disappointed in it. Disappointed that that's how they would disgrace. Thank you, AP, for covering it. And screw you, AP, for disgracing these soldiers in such a horrible way, as even coming close to comparing what's going on in Ukraine to World War II. What a disgrace you are. Thank you. Thank you for that, AP. Thank you, modern journalists. So disappointed in it. So disappointed. something that's supposed to be in remembrance of these soldiers that fought and died to free Europe, to even come close to comparing anything like that. Just not right. It's just not right at all. Heartbreaking to me that we have to deal with that crap. We need something happier. That's what we need. That's what we need. We need something a little bit happier. Here we go. This is a good one right here. This will put a little joy in your step, a little pep in your step. This should put a little pep in your step. I hope so. Yeah, exactly.
So, y'all, I've been getting multiple messages by multiple people saying, Queen, I want to come fishing with you, but I'm afraid they got gators in the water. How you know if you got gators in your water in Louisiana? Well, let me show y'all and give y'all a little fishing 101 on how you gonna know if they got gators in our water here in Louisiana. Come with me. So what you gonna do is you go find any body of water, right? Any body of water. Come on, come close, so I can show them how to see. So when you get to your body of water, this you just your little instruction. You scoot down, just like that, and you grab you some water like that, And if it's wet, that means they got gator in there. Once again, you grab you some water. You do like that. If that water is wet, they got gator in there. That's how you go know they got gator in the water here in Louisiana. All right, love you. Bye.
Love me a Cajun accent. Oh yeah. Good morning, MG. Just making sure y'all saw that booty shake. Damn. And here's a nice reminder for you guys. Let me open this thing up so it's full screen. And just a reminder, and we'll close out on this, because, well, that's how we roll.
And tonight, the Trump campaign is accusing Twitter and Facebook of censorship after the social media companies blocked the spread of an unverified story about former Vice President Joe Biden's son and a laptop allegedly full of his old emails. It's a story raising concerns about whether it's real or just designed to sow confusion in the final weeks of the election.
Experts say it has all the hallmarks of information laundering.
This looks like your classic disinformation campaign.
Eric O'Neill is a former FBI operative.
Steal the information with a cyber attack, get the emails from Hunter Biden's account, and then put them on these laptops that are left at a repair store. And that's how the information is now laundered into the public.
Who do you think is behind this?
Well, the Russians would be my number one guess.
Social media outlets were quick to limit the spread of the story. Twitter briefly suspending the accounts of the Trump campaign and White House press secretary after they tried to share it.
Twitter and Facebook have limited the distribution of that Hunter Biden story. And last night, Twitter appeared to suspend the Twitter account of White House press secretary Kayleigh McEnany when she tried to share that story.
Damn. You know a story is shady when Facebook is saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe people shouldn't see this.
For a long time, Giuliani has been openly working to dig up dirt and promote disinformation on the Bidens. And now the Washington Post is also reporting that the intelligence community was so concerned that the Russians were using Giuliani to feed Russian disinformation to the president that they warned the White House about it last year. We're being told by two people who have been briefed on what the FBI is doing is that they're looking into whether these unverified emails about Hunter Biden published by the New York Post about foreign business dealings are part of the bigger Russian disinformation effort, which is well underway in these final days of the 2020 race. The intelligence community has said for months that Russia is very actively engaged in a disinformation campaign in the 2020 election, in particular against Joe Biden, to denigrate his campaign in favor of President Trump.
I think there are a lot of issues related to this New York Post story that reportedly referenced the Hunter Biden emails. And as I and several of my former colleagues have pointed out publicly, that it does bear the hallmarks of Russian disinformation.
Intel Committee Chair Adam Schiff, who said this discussion over Hunter Biden and the story that came out in the New York Post that is highly questionable and dubiously sourced is part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Well, what I can tell you for sure is that Rudy Giuliani was the source of this hard drive and this information for the New York Post story. Also, the intelligence community has been saying repeatedly that Rudy Giuliani is the vehicle for Russian disinformation right now about Hunter Biden and the Bidens.
Really?
To say that there's no evidence that somehow these emails and text messages or this hard drive is part of a potentially a Russian disinformation campaign doesn't make any sense to me, Hallie.
Hunter Biden story, which we haven't covered as much for journalistic reasons because of the lack of verification. We don't put unverified disinformation on.
It's not every day where you see a headline like former New York City mayor, president's personal lawyer, and longtime friend. White House was warned that Rudy was the target of Russian intelligence operation to feed misinformation to Trump.
My colleagues at the Post reported tonight a pretty explosive story, which is that U.S. intelligence agencies believed that Rudy Giuliani was being worked over by Russian intelligence assets as a conduit to feed misinformation to the president of the United States. Apparently, according to U.S. intelligence, the Russians were onto him and were using Giuliani's interest in Ukraine to feed him misinformation to get to the president and to try to influence the American political process. And that's a big deal.
Serious questions tonight about whether the Russians are using Rudy Giuliani to interfere in the U.S. presidential election. Alex, there are fears that what Giuliani is now pushing here in the United States could actually be part of Russia's latest and very massive disinformation campaign in the U.S. presidential election.
Massive indeed, Wolf. We do know that it's a very active
I don't know what to
campaign. That's
say.
according to the U.S. intelligence community, and that Rudy Giuliani already had open contact with a person that the U.S. has called an agent for the Kremlin. Now, we are being told by two people who've been
this is what they did
what the FBI is doing, that
all the way up
into
to
whether
the
these
election.
Unverified emails about Hunter Biden that were published earlier this week by the New York Post about his business dealings in Ukraine and China are part of this bigger Russian disinformation effort in the 2020 election. Now,
Russian
those efforts, according
disinformation.
to the intelligence
Russian
community, are to
disinformation.
denigrate the Biden campaign and the former vice president in favor of President Trump.
Over the past few days, President Trump has highlighted a report by the New York Post about Hunter Biden, Joe Biden's son. There are major questions about the origins and the accuracy of that story. The president's personal attorney was peddling Russian disinformation.
Former senior intelligence official tells me that President Trump was warned Giuliani's information was likely Russian disinformation by National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien, CIA Director Jim Haskell, Director of National Intelligence Joe McGuire,
all these
White
guys.
House counsel Pat Cipollone, Attorney General Bill Barr, all told the president not to trust Giuliani, and this was first reported, Judy, by the Washington. The Biden campaign says that this is Russian disinformation.
New questions today about an unverified report in the New York Post on Joe Biden's son Hunter. Among them is Rudy Giuliani, the president's personal lawyer, tied to a Russian effort to influence the U.S. election.
The U.S. spy agencies have gathered intelligence that the president's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, was dealing with alleged Russian intelligence agencies. Last week, Giuliani and former Trump official Steve Bannon provided the New York Post with unverified emails, allegedly linking one of Hunter Biden's Ukrainian partners with a possible meeting with Joe Biden when he was vice president, a meeting the Biden campaign says never took place.
But it did.
Experts say the emails cannot be authenticated. Some may
They
be altered or
could be.
We have no
They
idea
were
whether
not.
the emails are legitimate, but this whole operation looks right out of the Kremlin playbook. Hack and dump.
Tonight, there are growing questions about the man once known as America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, and if he is being used by Russia to influence the 2020 presidential campaign.
President Trump on the attack today, going after Joe Biden and his family with dubious accusations.
I'll tell you what, it's an organized crime family as far as I'm concerned.
The president is referencing a tabloid newspaper story with emails purportedly swiped from the vice president's son, Hunter. But CBS News has learned the president was
which they found were all
by the National
verified.
Security Advisor Robert O'Brien that the man who provided the information to the tabloid, his personal attorney Rudy Giuliani, was the target of a Russian influence campaign aimed at discrediting Biden. CBS News has learned the FBI is now looking into whether the information found on the device may be part of a Russian disinformation campaign.
Oh, FBI,
this
huh?
looks like Russian intelligence. This walks like Russian intelligence. This talks like Russian intelligence. This
But it
effort by
wasn't.
Giuliani and the New York Post and
But it
and
wasn't.
Steve Bannon to cook up supposed dirt on Joe Biden looks
And it
like
wasn't.
a classic Russian playbook disinformation campaign. So when the intelligence community goes in and warns Donald Trump that Rudy Giuliani is being worked over by Russian intelligence, and then Rudy Giuliani suddenly comes forward with these mysteriously created emails, probably hacked through a Russian intelligence operation, we have to acknowledge the fact that the president of the United States is supporting, is condoning, is welcoming a Russian intelligence operation in 2020. Nicole, this is collusion in plain sight.
This is just classic textbook Soviet-Russian tradecraft at work.
Oh, really?
The Russians have analyzed the target. They understand that the president and his enablers crave dirt.
Turns
on
out it
Vice
wasn't.
President Biden, whether it's real or contrived, it doesn't matter to them. And so all of a sudden, two and a half weeks before the election, this laptop appears somehow without, and the emails on it without any metadata. It's all very
I
curious.
had all of
So here you have
all of
a
it.
willing target, and the Russians are very sophisticated about
I
how to
had
exploit
every
a willing
bit
target. And to me, that's
this.
what's at work
The
here.
FBI says this laptop is not Russian disinformation. So what are you talking about here? This laptop is real. It's not just a laptop. There's other emails. There's text messages. They are real. So according to the
guess
U.S.
what?
government, the
I know that you're
FBI
trying
has
to move
verified this.
everybody to look at that, but that's not what we're hearing from
Why
the
don't we
FBI.
want to report this?
But
This is one of the most powerful
because
families in Washington. The Biden family. And you're okay? You're okay with our interests being sold out to profit Joe Biden and his family when we're suffering during a pandemic from communist China keeps doing shady business deals with communist China? You're comfortable, okay?
As you know perfectly well, I'm a journalist and a reporter, and I follow the facts. And there has never been any issues in terms of corruption. Now, let me ask you this. Yesterday, the FBI...
Wait. How do you know that?
I'm talking about reporting and any evidence. I'm talking to you now.
Okay, I would love if you guys would start doing that digging and start doing that verification.
No, we're not going to do your work for you. I want to ask you a question. The FBI, contrary
it's a journalist's job
to what
to find out if this is verified.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest scandals I've ever seen, and you don't cover it. You want to talk about?
Well, because it can't be verified.
You want to talk
I'm
about
telling you.
insignificant things.
I'm telling you.
Of course, it can be verified. Excuse me. They found the laptop, Leslie. Leslie. What can be verified?
The laptop.
Why do you say that?
Was that your laptop?
For real, I don't know.
I know, but you know that's.
I really don't know what
okay.
the answer is.
You don't know yes or no if the laptop.
I don't have
was
any
yours.
idea. I have no idea.
So
It was too high.
Certainly, there could be a laptop out there that was stolen from me. There could be that I was hacked.
Stolen?
That
Oh.
it was Russian intelligence. It could be that it was stolen from me.
And you didn't drop off a laptop to be repaired in Delaware?
I don't remember at all.
In October 2020, a New York Post article said that emails purportedly showing shady dealings in Ukraine by Hunter Biden were found on a laptop computer that he supposedly left in a Delaware repair shop in 2019. The details were sketchy at best. And last month, a declassified intelligence report said that before the election, the Russians had launched a smear campaign against Joe Biden and his family.
Take a look at what's going on, Leslie, and then you say that shouldn't be discussed.
I say
It's the biggest scandal out there, Leslie.
and you think it's the biggest issue to campaign on.
I think it's this.
Does it surprise you at all that this information Rudy Giuliani is peddling very well could be connected to some sort of Russian government disinformation campaign?
And the idea that the president, that the White House counsel and others were made. Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son. Clearly, the origins of this whole smear are from the Kremlin. And the president is only too happy
From the Kremlin, huh?
in trying to amplify it.
It's not like Rudy Giuliani is peddling this information in a vacuum, Congressman. Take a look at this picture of the president in the Oval Office holding up a copy of the New York Post, touting this conspiracy theory. It's made its way all the way to the commander-in-chief.
Conspiracy theory, huh? Really?
Yes. Well, look, I think we know who the driving force behind this smear has been all along, and it's been the president and the Kremlin.
Oh,
The
really?
Kremlin has an obvious interest in denigrating Joe Biden. They want
Shifty
Donald Trump to
Schiff.
win. They recognize he's a weak president. He's been utterly unwilling to stand up to Putin and other autocrats. He has diminished NATO. He has criticized and
Diminished
weakened our
NATO.
alliance, with
Huh,
our transatlantic
really?
partners. He's been the gift that doesn't stop giving for the
Details
Kremlin.
weren't sketchy at all.
Help him.
No.
So they want to denigrate the vice president. The intelligence community has made that abundantly clear. And this particular smear, though, has also been acknowledged to come from the Kremlin. And there it is in the Oval Office, another wonderful propaganda coup for Vladimir Putin, seeing the President of the United States holding up a newspaper promoting Kremlin propaganda. It's really incredible.
The Washington Post, as you saw, is reporting that when the president was actually warned of concerns about Giuliani and where he was getting all this information,
Really?
warned by U.S. intelligence, law enforcement authorities, the president simply shrugged his shoulders and responded, "That's Rudy." How much is that part of the problem here that the president, at least according to this reporting in the Washington Post, doesn't seem to care?
Well, it's a big part of the problem, and we've known for a long time. Look, Rudy Giuliani doesn't run the president. The president runs Rudy Giuliani. Giuliani
really?
was doing the president's bidding. He was doing the president's
Oh,
bidding
okay.
late last year and earlier this year in Ukraine. He was doing.
How
the
many of these
president's bidding when he
so-called
was meeting with
conspiracies have
agents
come
of the
true in
Kremlin.
less
He
than
was doing
4
the president's
years?
bidding when he was pushing out the smear and trying to get the Ukrainians
Yep.
to push out the smear of his opponent, because he was deathly afraid of being exactly where we are right now, which is less than 3 weeks from the election, losing badly to Joe Biden. But the fact that he would continue to do it, I guess at this point shouldn't surprise us. But this is the story of Donald Trump: utter unwillingness to stand up to the Kremlin, a willingness to use their help, no
Oh,
matter how
really?
dishonest and disreputable,
Uh-huh.
a willingness to undermine our own elections by getting Kremlin help and amplifying it.
Really?
And there's only one remedy at this point, and that's to vote him out.
Have you, as a member of the Gang of Eight, the top leadership in the Congress, the Senate,
The
and the House,
gangbang.
and members of the Intelligence Committee, have you been formally briefed on what the Russians are up to right now in trying to peddle this kind of information?
Well, I was in the Intelligence Committee today to see what the latest was, and frankly, we haven't gotten much from the intelligence community very recently, which concerns me. They have at times some of the leadership, like the Director Ratcliffe, not been very forthcoming in terms of the intelligence on the Russian threat, and been promoting this false equivalence with other countries.
Russia.
The intelligence community was at liberty to tell the public more, but we do know this. The Russians are once again actively involved in trying to denigrate the vice president. Donald Trump is helping them.
Or how about you're working to denigrate the president of the United States by
this is another gift the president is giving
lying?
the Russians. Unlike 2016, when the Russians had to make up this stuff, they now can simply use the president's own false statements and amplify them.
But they weren't
It
false.
is extraordinary that the president of the United States is telling his own citizens and the rest of the world that America can't hold a free and fair election. The Kremlin just has to push out that false narrative by the president of the United States.
Congressman Adam Schiff, thank you so much for joining us.
Call Biden a criminal. Why is that?
He is a criminal. He's a criminal. He got caught. Read his laptop. And you know who's a criminal? You're a criminal for not reporting it. You are a criminal for not reporting it. Let me tell you something. Joe Biden is a criminal, and he's been a criminal for a long time. And you're a criminal in the media for not reporting it. Good luck, everybody. Have a good job.
The president has said, and you have tweeted, that allegations of wrongdoing based on files pulled from Hunter Biden's laptop are Russian disinformation. There's a new book by Politico reporter that finds some of the files on there are genuine. Is the White House still going with Russian disinformation?
I think it's broadly known and widely known, Peter, that there was a broad range of Russian disinformation back in 2020.
But
54
that's not what he asked.
intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. They have said that this has all the five former heads of the CIA, both parties say what he's saying is a bunch of garbage.
This is classic.
It's not.
We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. There's overwhelming evidence that from the
Oh.
community that the Russians are engaged.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation.
Yep. As he runs off.
Yes. I know you'd ask it. I have no response. Another smear campaign. It's a last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family. The vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all.
I get calls from my father to tell me that the New York Times is calling, but my old partner, Eric, who literally has done me harm for I don't know how long, is the one taking the calls because my father will not stop sending the calls to Eric. I have another New York Times reporter calling about my representation of literally, Dr. Patrick Coe, the fucking spy chief of China, who started the company that my partner, who was worth $323 billion, founded.
Is now missing.
Is now missing. The richest man in the world is missing. Who was my partner? He was missing since I last saw him in his $58 million apartment and signed a $4 billion deal to build the fucking largest fucking LNG port in the world. And I am receiving calls from the Southern District of New York, from the U.S. Attorney himself. My best friend in business, Devin, has named me as a witness without telling me in a criminal case, and my father without telling me.
Now I gotta call somebody to come get me because my car turned into a spaceship and I don't know how to fly it. I'm not an astronaut.